And we're going to start with Pine. That way, Tenkyu's last, so he gets to see an example of what we do. So, Pine, go to your way. Who are you again? Hound? Yeah, Hero. Pine. Hero Ruma, alias Lawman. Ask one of your questions, either one of the ones from the playbook or one that's in your noggin, a Pine original, to the group. And anyone, Tenkyu, the question that Pine asks, anyone can answer it, and it's just a fun little way to be like, how do our characters know each other? And then also, before you explain how you, Hero, feel about that fun little bit of knowledge, tell us about Hero. Who are they? The smoking dog. At the end of an investigation, at the end of every investigation that he's a part of, they go, "Oh, we found the smoking dog," and it's always Columbo. So yeah, how does Hero feel now that we get a reminder of who he is? How does he feel about this truth serum enabled life story that he got? Yeah, the dog always helps. Also, if anybody wants to share their screen for audience members, if you're not an audience member, whoever shares their screen, make sure you mute their stream. Otherwise, you'll hear the music twice. Pancake, remind us who Ezra Green is. Signed with a glitter pen. Right. Minerva, remind us who Emma Adler is, alias Red Fox, and then ask a question. Oh, I mean, I'm sure a secret spy has found, if they were asked to monitor you, I'm sure they found your spirit Halloweens at some point. And you won them over with your spiritualist charms and strange fortunes and chintzy decorations. That was pretty cool. Yeah. All right. I like that. And now, last but not least, Tingerman. Tell us about Daphne Malvern, alias Flower Child. How old is Daphne? She's yours now, Tinku. Beyond what's on the character sheet, anything else is yours to pick. Yep. The university. We all know the one. Oh man, a scandal. And now you're using those same charms for criminal activities instead of seducing spouses. All right, awesome. So with that, which of the questions that I pinged you at in the little chat, because I realized you don't have a copy of the book yet, which of those questions are you going to ask to the crew? What was the something stupid? Okay, so what? Yeah, no, okay, that's funny. What? Yeah, no. So there's like it's got to be like glitter related, right? Like some type of glitter bomb or something that just went horribly wrong. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so glitter bomb gone wrong. Maybe how do you so is it like maybe like you had some weird ghost something or other that was related to the glitter bomb? Or is it more of like a mechanical failure that just it had too much glitter and now it blinded a bunch of people? Okay. So glitter bomb gone wrong, and the magician comes in to save the day by maybe. So I think that a mystical angle. We'll say that you have a glitter bomb, and the explosion mechanism. Maybe you used a spirit jar instead of a regular jar by accident, or some such thing. Spirit jars are the antique ways that ghosts were captured back in the day, and maybe you put a glitter bomb inside of one of those without realizing that it's not just a cool little like mason jar of old. And then there was a ghost in there that was released when all the glitter went off, and then you had to come save the day with your ghost catching powers. And the something stupid in this case is buying something from a back alley spirit Halloween. Like a can of peanut brittle, but instead of snakes, it's ghosts. Yeah. All right, cool. So that's our fun little connections. Now, which song do I want? Yeah, we'll do this one this time. Now we do the opening title. So this is a fun thing where we get to see a fun little jump cuts of different stuff from your character's endeavors. Um, a moment of action from a score we've never seen, the everyday business of your crew, your character suiting up, blah blah blah. You should all be able to see the different prompts that there are. We're gonna normally we would go from the person who last asked their question and then make our way back down. But again, since 10Q's new, we're just gonna go back to Pine and then do the same order that we just did. After each of you do a little intro, I will then do a thing over the city and we'll transition to the next thing. 10Q, see how this works. It's fun and easy. So, Pine, what do we got? Yeah, sure. Taxman. It does make more sense. So, yeah, what's Taxman up to in this opening title sequence? With these funky, fresh grooves in the background. Awesome. Okay. So as the door opens, instead of us getting to see who the client is, the door slams into the camera, knocking it in this little spinny thing that now everything is all blurry. And then when the camera does recover, we are hearing the sounds of slot machines and bells and rattles, and someone screams jackpot as we are inside of a casino over on Silkshore with some goons that are wearing bandages after being thrown down some stairs and angrily mumbling about that if they get their hands on that damn rabbit, um, who knows what they'll do. Pancake. Yeah, so the camera does not follow you as you go off screen. And then we take and hear that chime again. And when the camera goes to pan to that one, it pans to a nice regular shop, little like a gas station essentially, with a Skovlander behind the counter, as some riot coats kind of waltz in, whistling, looking rather unfriendly as they approach the counter. Minerva, what's Emma doing? Oh, very dastardly. And as you take and go into the bathroom, the camera then focuses on someone who has just crafted a house of cards out of sauce packets in the diner. And then a very quiet, maybe suppressed gun goes off, startling the guy, knocking over his tower of little sauce packets. Uh, and then the camera pans over across the street to a similar tower made out of canned goods, in just a little food mart. As there's some guy in a little stuffy uniform putting the last can of peas at the top of the pyramid. Thank you. What's Daphne doing in this opening title sequence? So let's see, she's out of college, but she's not old, so probably a seltzer. There's no laws when you're drinking claws, as they say. And that's her moment of quiet reflection, is enjoying some nice beverages before whatever next job she finds. Oh, so she's out and about in public then. Okay, cool. Yeah, so she's probably in some nice place. Perhaps even not the nicest place, which would be White Crown, but Brightstone. Probably somewhere in Brightstone looking for a mark. And then the camera takes and pans outside as some blue coats, not riot coats, are whistling down the streets, twirling their baton in hand, very 50s era cartoon style. And then they see what appears to be some kind of vagrant begging for food at the edge of an alley, and then the two of them kind of grab him by the shoulders into the darkness, and you hear the sounds of commotion as our opening title finishes. And we get ready to get started. So, up next is the planning phase, where you guys will take, not that one, where you guys will take and come up with whatever job we're going to do tonight. So, Tenki, let me upload a copy of the book for you. Everyone else, the faction Rolodex is somewhere in the back of the book. If you go to page 7 of the number in the search box, it will give you the table of contents. How we do a planning meeting is you're going to pick a client, or pick a target, or pick a job type. And you'll pick one of those three things. You will put it in the chat here in Foundry. I will quickly create a series of jobs, filling in the rest of the details while you guys have a little moment to role play together, some such way. And then once I finish making those, you guys will decide which one you want to do, and then we'll hit the ground running. 868. If anyone has lost their copy of the book, here it is as well. In any second now, to your internet. There you go. Yeah, put it in Foundry. Yeah, I think that's an extortion is what that's closest to in terms of the ones the book has. As a reminder, the thing that your crew is best at specifically is subterfuge, which I'm sure that'll have a subterfuge of some sort. 10Q, like it's the faction Rolodex, if you want to pick a target, is on page 352 of the number in the search box, 342 of the number in the corner of the book. If you don't want to have to worry about picking who you're working for or who you're working against, you can just pick a type of job: an extortion, a smash and grab, assassination, um, a heist. There's the world's your oyster. This is basically you pick. You'll end up picking something you think sounds fun, and then I'll fill the rest in, and then as a group, you'll come together to pick out which one you're doing. Of the number in the search box, yeah. That should give you a series of factions that exist in the world, like the Mirror House or the Church or the Silver Echoes. So you'll pick one of those as the target or as the client. So that could be somebody you're doing the job for, or somebody that you want to basically antagonize in some way. Or if you don't want to do either of those things, you just pick which type of job you would like. And then I will be presenting a total of 4 different jobs once all is said and done for you guys to pick from. Let's see. Do we have any leftovers from you, Pancake? We still have yours as well. If you don't want me to make a new one, Pancake, we have a job for Lord Surlock against the Strelai to go to one of their safe houses and steal something for him. Or for a payout of 5 stacks. I see. All right. And so now let's see. What's our scene going to be? Pen 10Q still has to pick something. Um, Anybody have any suggestions for a fun thing to roleplay for the next 10 to 15 minutes? Yeah, you want to do something for or against the Lisco Reform Clinic? Working for them? Okay. Put type for and then put them in the chat for me. And if nobody has any suggestions, then I think we're going. Then my suggestion for y'all to roleplay would be, um, all of you find yourselves. Uh, I think probably 10Q's character strikes out on getting a date for the night, and then you guys happen to meet over in Charter Hall somewhere. Yeah, type it in the chat for what you want the client to be that you're working for. Kidnapping. Yes, like that. Thank you. All right, so we've got someone stealing coins. Someone actually, are you playing pinball for real? Is pinball a passion of yours? Okay, a hobby, one might say. What about Mr. Criminal Accountant and college dropout? What do you two do in the arcade? Columbo is sitting in the corner on his fourth cigarette of this discussion. He's really talented being able to light the lighter with his own two paws. While this conversation's going on, what's Daphne doing, TinQ? Oh, not at all. No, he's very locked in. He's the one. And so multi-ball. I was about to say, while it's Emma's also playing pinball, do you notice your new acquaintance Daphne just completely making a fool of herself, telling her life story to this guy that's clearly not listening? There's a very, very loud, like loser or some other type of sad noise that plays from the machine, um, which does break the pinball dude out of his haze. And he looks over at Daphne and starts to introduce himself, ma- making it clear that he was not listening the entire time you were talking. Columbo expertly. Yeah, he's only got paws. Yeah, he's freaking out. He is looking around for a drink, which is shockingly in low supply in this arcade for some reason. Everybody has just finished their drinks as he runs off towards the front area for some help. That's a good that's a good meme. That's good. So I have your jobs. So Pancake, the Blackjacks, which are um, like former rail workers and such who have been replaced by the progress of society. They want you to kidnap this dude from the Kethris Lounge Lodge, which is a society with a special interest in the paranormal. Um, they want you to kidnap their treasurer and bring him back to them, and they will pay you 5 stacks to kidnap the treasurer of the Kethris Lodge. They do not tell you why they want him. They don't. They pay you to kidnap people, not ask questions. Minerva, the palace has given you an assassination mission against the Ankhat Consortium, which is like basically a big conglomerate of rich people. They will pay you guys to kill the basically the next CEO. So he has not been officially named the CEO yet, but all of the rumors is that this is the person who's going to replace the current one when he retires shortly. The palace wants you to kill him. They will pay you 8 stacks to do this, as well as they'll give you an extra 2 stacks if you guys put a calling card from Blackthorn Park in the assassination. Blackthorn Park being the opposing spy machine for the Russian nation. Pine, your client is the New Dawn, which is like a health and wellness cult. And they want you to go after the Ministry of Discovery. They have a sabotage mission. The Ministry of Discovery has been looking into technology that the cult considers sacrilegious. So they would need you to go to a research facility, destroy everything related to this particular invention, um, and they don't want you to kill anyone. So if you don't kill anyone in that process, you guys get two extra stacks for it. Otherwise, the payout is 5 stacks. And then 10Q, the Alusco Reform Clinic need you to steal some particularly damning evidence that the Inklane tabloid paparazzi have gathered about some of the stuff that the Reform Clinic has been doing. A particularly determined reporter has seen some things they shouldn't, and they need you to steal all the evidence of those things from the journalist's office or home, wherever the information might be, and bring it back to the clinic. They will pay you 6 stacks for this. And if you need to see those again as a reminder, they are in the chat, not the specifics that I just described, but the little client target, stuff like that. So of those four, as a reminder, the more stacks something pays, the harder it is. This does not include called shots. Those do not take into account the difficulty. So that's the hardest mission of the ones I've offered to you. But it is also a lot of stacks, a lot of coins. No, yeah, 5 or 6 is typically where y'all fall because the payout's determined by the tier of the target plus whatever I roll when I roll 0d6 because you guys are still to 0. If you do an 8 stack payout, though, you could just take that whole reward and spend it on tearing up the crew. You guys are also, as a reminder, you guys are currently at war. So in terms of downtime things, you'll only get 1 downtime for free. So you could also have a lot of money to do extra downtimes. And also, there's riots in the district that are aimed at you guys specifically. I mean, crime in the district, but you guys are like the figurehead for crime in the district at the moment with all the heat you've gathered. From these, absolutely not. But 8 stacks is a lot of money to do downtimes to make long-term projects. It would get the palace off your backs. You'd still need to get to do something about Blackthorn Park, but the palace would no longer be on y'all's ass about that whole frame job that you were a part of all those months ago. You being the crew at large, not you specifically. I don't think any of you were there for that one. You guys are the lady the frame job that resulted in the death of one of the two Keel twins, turning the Keel twins faction into the Keel twin faction. Um, she finally declared war and shot up the doghouse a whole bunch. It was pretty tough, pretty bad time. They did go after the mind traveler that is friends with many people in the professionals. They tried to kill him. Then he was saved, but now he's like living life on the lam. He is not exactly ecstatic to provide help to the professionals until that whole war situation is resolved. But yeah, 10Q, any thoughts on any of these jobs that seem fun? That's a bold amount of trust. TinQ's like, I've got an empty stress bar. We got this. Big Norm got shot pretty hard. Bad time for Big Norm. But you did it. Well, now a treasurer doesn't explicitly have money. A treasurer handles money. Suggested. That's true. They didn't forgive any of your loans when you dropped out. They started the interest immediately. The assassination does give the most money. 8 by default, plus 2 if you guys leave the calling card of Blackthorn Park. And leaving a calling card means you can't just like snipe him from several buildings away. It's like you gotta physically get access to the body somehow. The palace has given you basically a little um they gave you like a manila envelope which has some stuff in there that's just that makes it seem like Blackthorn Park would be involved somehow. Basically, a lot of like some fake documents, other things like that, that would make it seem like Blackthorn Park would have a vested interest in killing this guy, which you'll need to get onto his body somehow. Or you could not do that, and you could just do whatever you wanted and just accept 8 stacks instead of 10. Called shots are optional. It's not like they're going to be. A called shot is an extra thing. So if you don't do it, it's not like the person who hired you to do the job will be angry at you. They just won't give you whatever you're getting from doing the called shot. The main thing is that the guy dies. If you can frame somebody else in the process, the palace is like, oh, cool, but they just want the guy dead. A wheel. A wheel, otherwise known as a coin, if we're having picking between 2 options. It's true. It's not as fun to go to the Make a Wheel website and then match spin around and round and round. You are correct. So yeah, do you guys want to do that? Do you want to take and let fate decide whether you kill or kidnap someone, or do you want to make a firm stance one way or the other? I'm not hearing strong opinions. Usually, strong opinions burst out of you with reckless abandon. They don't sit there quietly waiting for several seconds for their turn. So it sounds like it's the wheel. Wheel of murder. I can see the wheel, yeah. Yeah, imagine there's some royalty free Wheel of Fortune music playing right now because that's I think one of the few things I don't have. The beach ball wheel of decision says you're killing a guy. All right, yeah. So, oh yeah, that's so tragic. That's so few things. Not like my three screen world that I live in. All right, it is. It's so I have Foundry on one screen, you guys on one screen, notes, and my rule books on another screen. It's truly wonderful. So, I don't like this. I think I like this one better. So, TinQ, you're set up a stand. Don't you sit on a stool? Okay, so job time. What are we thinking? What do we? So this CEO is the ANCAC consortium, like I talked about, is kind of just like a conglomerate of a lot of things, and so this CEO position kind of just resides over a bunch of the things appointed by the board. Blah blah blah. Rich people things. So the CEO's name. Oh, did they kill my mock? Did they kill my things? My roll table macros? Where'd they all? They did. They did take all of my roll table macros. 1 second. I mean, she's sharp, confident, and talkative. I feel like that's what you've been doing. I mean, yeah, or it could be sharp like a she could be like like mean. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I meant when I put that word in there. That was months ago when she also might have been Daphne and or Velma. Yeah, that's exactly what he was doing. Guys, guys, I promise. Where is? Okay, no names there, so we'll just do whatever. Which one of these sounds fun? More Reg mindset. That's true. That's true. Someone fills the boba shape. What are they, squiggles? I'm gonna have to look up what this is later. Huh. I've never heard this before. Interesting. Mental health association between certain speech sounds and certain visual shapes. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, Wayland Utley is a short little Acrosi man, who is, when you think scheming eunuch, this is the guy. That's the person that you're gonna assassinate. He has lots of security as future CEO to be for this tier 4 faction. Um, so yeah, what are our thoughts? We've got. Do we? I have the. Are we gonna be gung ho and just like try to shoot him in his home or place of work, or do we want to try to gather some information to maybe narrow some things down? So you want to try to gather some information that way, but trying to get like a maybe like spend a week being a fake intern, or at the very least a day, depending on how your roles go. Okay, yeah, that sounds good. So 10Q on the left side of your screen, while you have the token controls option selected, you should see a little dice icon. And if you click that dice looking icon, it pulls up a little roller. So you're gonna have this is a gather information roll. And how are you going about this with Daphne? Do you feel like you're trying to like do you have a college friend who works in the building now? Do you have some other type of connection? Are you just going to lie your way in? What approach are you doing to try to get this internship? Okay. Okay. So typically, if we're using our friends, that's our consort ability. So then you have, for the number of dice you're rolling for this, you click the little drop down and select one dice, 1D. Yeah. And then we'll see how this goes. Correct. 3, you get incomplete or partial information. So you're like, he's like, what? Yeah, sure, I can get you an internship. The internship, unfortunately, is as a janitor. Um, and by the end of the day, you will have realized he basically just got you to help him do his job for the one day rather than an actual internship. But in that time, you'll get some little bits of information rather than maybe anything super good that you wanted. Let's see. What song do I want for this? Oh, yeah, brunch. So you spend the day doing this really important internship at this building. And in it, you learn there are cameras everywhere. There are armed guards outside of every staircase and elevator. And the elevator itself, in order to actually get anywhere, requires, it looks like it has some type of little fingerprint scanner, because when you guys have to go cleaning between the floors, janitor dad has to press his thumb on the little thing next to the button that's like, pick your floor, and then it takes you places. So those are the three things you learned about the building the guy works in during your internship. Um, yeah, I mean they're all pretty standard. It's mostly just like an office block. So like you leave the elevator, there's hallway, either side of hallway, cubicles, end of the hallway, bathroom, storage closet, etc. And that's the layout for basically the entirety of the non-executive suites. Yeah. That is for all of the non-executive floors, which you guys did not get access to. Someone else cleans those. It's just cubicles and hallway. And then your internship is done. You realize that he kind of scammed you out of just cleaning floors with him all day. And I don't know. I imagine you don't go back. He's really bummed about losing his assistant. You did a Oh, well, I mean, yeah, of course we're gonna have good benefits. I mean, if I hated my job, if a janitor hates where he's working, that's like the first point of contention for spies and other ne'er do wells to try to sneak in, because we typically have access to a lot of places. So if you don't take care of us, I mean, the whole thing crumbles down around us. Realistically, in the world of the corporations, the janitor's the most important role. He says with like admiration in his eyes, clearly buying into whatever propaganda they've been telling him over the years. So yeah, you know that about the building, highly secured. What are we thinking? Any? Do we want to just go gung ho, gun down all the guards? Yeah, everybody typically gets one gather information roll, unless I end up feeling like we're just kind of dawdling around, and then I'll cut it early. But I mean, we don't know much about anything right now. Well, that was the intention. He got a day of being a janitor, so I mean, now you guys are just in your regular prep phase of, hey, what do we need to know to kill this guy? So basically, just try to follow the guy for a standard week and see what his itinerary looks like. Probably a week. I imagine if you guys don't get this done post haste, the palace will find somebody else to do it for them. Alrighty. So, which of your action ratings are you going to use to do this? So depends on how you're going about it. I could see survey if you're kind of just sitting around, watching from afar. Depending on how close you're getting, I could also see prowling works, because that's for running, jumping, sneaking, stuff like that. Alrighty. So then same deal, go to the dice roller on the left side of the screen, gather information, and set the number of dice to 2. Also, TinQ, if you want a quick overview of what each of the skills do, um, there is the player kit inside of the journal tab on the right side of the screen. There's like a little book icon. Hell yeah, double sixes. There's a player kit in there that has a bunch of little stuff like how to have fun playing the game and what do you do for downtime. The skills page has a quick little 2 sentence description of each of your skills. So you get exceptional details. The information is complete, and follow-up questions may expand into related areas or reveal more than you hoped for. So this guy is shockingly routine. Um, every single day during that week, for example, at 9:03 sharp, he walks into the same coffee shop, gets the exact same order from the exact same barista every single day for the week you follow him. So you know that based on that week that he, unless something maybe catastrophic happens, he is going to be at the exact same place at the exact same time every single day. So I think with the critical that has revealed that you know his routine, you know exactly where he's going to be, where you know what time he goes home, what time he goes to lunch. I think that that's probably good enough for you guys to figure out some kind of plan. So the plan and its detail determines kind of how we start this job. So the different plan types, which I will put into the Discord for the visual folks among us who have a hard time when they just listen to me yap. Assault, deception, no problem. Assault, deception, stealth, paranormal, social, speed. So those are the plan types. Assault would be you kick the front door of the building in and fight your way to him. Deception, you have some type of misdirection or disguise, like being a barista. Stealth, you sneak into his house, maybe? Question mark. Paranormal, I have no idea what that would be in the situation. Social, maybe he's got some kind of meeting you guys, you have a connection to be a part of for one reason or another. Or speed, uh, you know that during his routine he has his chauffeur that takes him from place to place in his autopod. So you guys, the swinger Daphne has her own autopod that you guys could use to do something or other with. But I feel like knowing his complete routine gives us a good enough idea of of which of these plans we want to do and what our opening gambit might be. So what do we think? The called shot being planting a calling card that was going to require you to physically get access to his body. So JFK Hero, yeah, Heroes are very good with ranged weaponry. So you have two people. You have two people who could do shooting. I'm also pretty sure that in the loadout for the operative, which is what Minerva's character is, pretty sure there's like a fine sniper rifle in there. A high powered sniper rifle complete with silencer. Yeah. So we're doing the JFK assassination. One of you in a building, the other on the ground as a backup and also to put documents on his body. And then the other two of you with the getaway car. Something to this effect. You've got paranormal powers. I mean, you can throw things with your mind. Oh yes, you're the protester who jumps in front of the car so it's in place long enough for one of them to get the shot. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So this is I'm thinking this is probably closer to speed than stealth. It would be speed or assault, right? Because if we're doing JFK assassination, it's the attack point is shooting him in his car, and then speed, the moment of impact, would be if we were using the car in a way to stop his car instead of some other way. If we yeah. So what do we? Because you know the route he's going to be. There's almost certainly a building somewhere you can post up in. All of these things are easy narrative contrivances for in terms of engagement role things. And your character has a getaway car. You have a fine 2-seat autopod. You could. Oh, this is what I did. Okay, so it's Daphne Melvern with her car Velma is what I did as I'm looking in the cohort for this. Um, the car that you have, 10Q, it's best at impressing people. That's what your car is. It's simple, so it's easy to repair. But it also has memorable features. So you take +1 heat when you use it on a score. Score being the job. So you get if you die if using the car in this, you'll get +1 heat because your car is easy to identify. There's plenty of bridges that you could block. This guy works in this guy works in 6 towers. So you have Marble Avenue, Strangford Bridge, Comber Way, or Rowan Way are all bridges you could block easily. Yeah. Currently wanted level 1 with 0 heat because someone just went to prison last session, I think. I know Becky's character went to prison several sessions ago. I don't remember. You guys, maybe you guys cohorts, or maybe a. That's a great question. Yes. So you can you could probably anticipate, unless you guys do this expertly, getting to wanted level 2. 9 heat feels reasonable already from unless this goes really really well. That's true. You'll no longer have the +2 heat for the frame up. You'll have +1 heat from Blackthorn Park instead of 2 from Palace and Blackthorn. But yeah. So what are we? What's? I think that this sounds more like assault because there's no guarantee that this guy gets killed in the engagement roll. I think that if this was a different situation with a less protected target, this would be speed because I think that the engagement roll would determine what kind of response there is to you guys getting away. Whereas the question I think still is whether or not we get the guy in this first initial onset. So yeah, I think this is probably an assault, unless anyone has any other thoughts. Okay. So we have an assault. Our attack point is JFK assassination. All right. So let's get some suspenseful music going. What do I want for this? Not that one. That seems pretty good. Ooh. I love tabletop games. All right, engagement. So loadout. Before we do that, are you guys going quiet or loud? If you go quiet, you have three loadout points. If you go loud, you have 6. Um, it will inform the engagement roll and might impact your heat. It is much more conspicuous if someone who's very clearly um, carrying lots of bits. Well, yeah, the sniper rifle has a silencer. It is included in the kit. The distraction car park situation. It's maybe a little suspicious if somebody who's clearly carrying lots of goodies on them is suddenly protesting in the road compared to someone who just, is not clearly carrying whatever items you end up picking during the mission. That is true. There is ectoplasm. All right. So quiet or loud for that, because that's free. That's not going to be part of your loadout to do that. But quiet, you're less conspicuous. Loud, you're more conspicuous for both getaway, approach, stuff like that. This fine sniper rifle is already 2 out of 3 points. So if we do go quiet, that means that Emma Adler's got 1 loadout left for free during the job. Okay. So who's the one that's on the building, and then who's the one on the ground? I feel like the person. What do you, hero? What's your weapon of choice? A fine snub-nosed hand cannon. For what? I mean, it depends on what the exact situation looks like. It depends on whether or not it's easier to sneak in there or easier to plant it. Kind of depends on the exact situation. You know, Prowl for sure is going to be needed one way or another. So you guys could swap weapons, and Hero could be in the tower. There is a silenced hand cannon, but there is a silenced pistol, but at the situation where you're boots on the ground involved with a security detail, I'm not sure if silenced weapons really going to matter. All things considered, at that point, probably better to just have something that kills people, like a fine snub-nosed hand cannon that can be concealed in a pocket. JFK. Yeah. Okay. So, quiet loadout. You guys swap guns. Engagement. Let's see. So 1 dice for sheer luck. Is this operation particularly bold or daring? Absolutely. Is this operation overly complex or contingent on many factors? I also think that's a yes. So that just cancels each other out. Does the plan's detail expose a vulnerability of the target or hit them where they're weakest? I'm going to assume, since you had his whole schedule, that through some strange circumstances, this is the best option to hit him, because you don't have all of the security guards of the building. You just have whoever's in his car and maybe like 1 escort vehicle. So yes, this is the weakest place to hit him. Can any of your friends or contacts provide aid or insight for this operation? Do you have anyone who can help you kill the not president, the future president of the company? All right. Do we have any enemies or rivals that could interfere in this operation? What do we got on the rival side? I see Tenkyu's got a politician. Hey Tenkyu, why does that why is that politician not like you? Yeah, on the contacts tab, your friend is you're friends with a drug dealer, and you are rivals with a politician. So why does Nullburn the politician not like you? Okay, so probably not this mission. Doesn't seem like this would be something he'd involved in. Are there any other elements I want to consider? This is a much higher tier target. You guys are tier 0. This is tier 4, so that will bring the dice down by 1. So just a nice standard 1d6 for your engagement. All right, let's see what our starting position is for this. This is probably going to be, as you know, the bullet is fired, the magic bullet, and we see how well this goes from there. A 6. Okay. Controlled position when the action starts. So what does that look like? The building that you have found, Hero, is it's got a nice quick exit, a working fire escape. It's got a perfect line of sight for you to just quickly get out of there. And you're here getting ready to take the shot. So you are in the perfect position where to be as the car is about to round the corner and get into the previously discussed shooting position. Um, Pancake's character has completely stalled things with their protest of something about the companies they run, environmental pollution, blah blah blah. Um, yeah. 10Q's car is hiding. Um, I think for this to be controlled, I think that 10Q wasn't needed to stop traffic. That somebody else has stopped traffic upon seeing Pancake's protest to get the guy in the right position. So, what you gonna shoot him? How you gonna shoot him? Which of your actual ratings are you going to use to do that? I ask superfluously because we all know which one it's going to be. That is correct. This is controlled standard because of the successful engagement roll. Yep. All right. You hesitate, withdraw, and try a different approach, or do it with a minor consequence, a minor complication, reduced effect, lesser harm, risky position. So there's something. This feels too easy, right? I don't think Hero's done a whole assassination thing before, but surely it can't go off this easy, right? That the target perfectly parks their car in your sight lines. There just so happens to be a building that's got a nice, easy like vantage point slash escape route. It's just it feels wrong. It feels weird. So you can try something else, or you can do it, and there's something that happens. It's minor complication, reduced effect, lesser harm, or risky position. So, I mean, minor complication isn't going to like absolutely devastate the mission, but it is going to cause problems. Reduced effect, same thing. That's a good thought. Are you? That's one of the things that's circulating in my noggin. So, are we going to go forward with pulling the trigger? So, Hero holds their breath to steady this fine sniper rifle that's on loan from our super secret agent friend. It is a very well crafted sniper rifle that is the whole briefcase situation. You guys during the investigation or during the prep phase, Emma probably taught you how to put it all together, and everything goes perfectly quiet. All of this, the horns honking down on the street, the protesting of Pancake, and maybe some blue coats that are not involved yet, but you get the sense that they'll be here soon. All of that just goes quiet, and you pull the trigger. And it is a good thing that we decided to use a high quality spy sniper rifle, because wouldn't you know it, the windows on his autopod are bulletproof. So if this was not a fine sniper rifle, they would have bounced off harmlessly. Because it is a fine sniper rifle, it does go through. So sadly, a bullet going through bulletproof glass loses a lot of stopping power. Also, the angle's not exactly what you want. So rather than a nice clean JFK style headshot for this guy, the bullet instead lands somewhere that is not immediately lethal. And now, this guy's not immediately dead, and this could probably get to a pretty excellent, expensive doctor if they get away from this and live to tell the tale. So what's going on now? What's our backup plan doing? Yeah, the driver has started trying to basically make their way out of traffic, like crashing into the cars around them to just get them out of the way. And there's also, even though it is a suppressed sniper, no one on the street hears it. But now having a crazy driver who is desperately trying to get out of here has made other cars antsy, and the situation is rapidly becoming much more chaotic. Up to the CEO's vehicle. Okay. So this is, I don't know, I've done this maybe once or twice. Um as you approach, the window from the passenger side is rolled down just enough for the barrel of a gun to come out, and you are immediately shot in the torso area. You could choose to resist that if you please. Yeah. Okay, so change it from like a tier 2 harm to just like a graze. Hmm. Okay. So that's part of your psychokinesis, so you need to push yourself. So you'll get 2 stress, which will give you +1 die to the resistance roll as well. And this is a prowess resistance. Oh, right. That's a good point. It would be resolve because it's not, you're trying to stop it from, this isn't like you physically dodging, blocking, right? This would be resolve, yeah. Yeah, +1 because you're pushing yourself. All right, yeah. So you managed to do that and take 0 stress. Um, yeah. So it's a graze. It's not enough to where it's worth writing on your sheet about. You just kind of move the bullet to where it doesn't hurt as much with the powers of your mind. Um, the person with the gun, they still have a gun. You should desperately get something out quickly to maybe not get shot again. And you hear like a gruff voice bark out, "Step away from the vehicle, or I will fire again." We don't need your help. We have it handled. Get out of the way. Um, unless you'd like to try and do something of else to convince them not that you are helpful somehow. Okay. Uh, yeah, go ahead. Ooh, okay. So this is CEO bleeds out. This is going to be, I think, an 8 segment clock or six or eight. Let's see. It's not a. He wasn't hit somewhere that immediately killed him, but it was still a fancy bullet from a fancy sniper rifle. Probably 6. So this is going to be CEO bleeds out, and I will put this clock into the world in just a moment. We'll put it here in the center of 6 towers. So when this clock fills up, he will have bled out if you have not done something to just kill him outright. So yeah, you want to slash the tires and try to delay them getting anywhere? All right, cool. Yeah, sounds good to me. That's going to be, let's see. So your current position is basically just somewhere in an alley, our version of a grassy knoll here in the city. So there's a lot of traffic to cross. Like a lot of traffic that's currently now starting to drive kind of crazy after this one guy's driving kind of crazy. And now there's also been a gunshot that has gone off. So this is probably desperate for you to cross this now packed street of cars with erratic drivers to get to the right one and slash the tires unharmed. So yeah, this is desperate standard, I think. I don't know if that's going to stop the vehicle at all. I think that if you try to make an insurance claim, maybe they'll just shoot you again, or at best case scenario, throw a business card out to deal with later. Yeah. So okay. So shoot tires. We want to try that first. Okay. Um. Yeah. Risky limited. I think trying to get a clean shot now is pretty difficult. And now that you have fired once, subsequent shots are more likely to attract attention to yourself. So yeah, I think risky limited. All right, success. Yeah. So you take and fire a couple shots. Unfortunately, tires also pretty bulletproof. So this isn't like a case of immediate like pop, explode, blah blah bomb. It's like they you shoot the tires and they are there's whatever air is in there is gone, but clearly they have some type of other lining in there to keep the tires usable until they can get swapped out. But you have made the car's top speed decrease a little bit as they take and swerve basically into the opposite oncoming traffic lane to try to get out of this mess that has happened. TimQ, you have your car. What are you doing? Mhm. You guys also have little walkie-talkies to talk to each other, so you can relay information between each other. Don't forget that. Those are zero load to have walkie-talkies, so you can talk to each other. Hell yeah. All right. And which of your action ratings are you going to use to do that? Typically, finesse, handle a vehicle or a mount is the default one for driving skill, usually. That would be the risky standard option. Actually, desperate, great. Yeah, if you want to take 2 stress, you can roll sway or consort instead, while using a free flashback to reveal who convinced you this particular technique or approach, or who you convinced to teach you. Yeah, what's up? No. So what happens is that once you fill up your clock, all of your harms go down 1 tier, and then because you guys have a crew quarters at the end of each job, all of your tier ones go away automatically. So once you get it from tier 2 to 1, it goes away for free at the end of the next job, but you have to get it down to tier 1 first. Yeah. So who did you convince to teach you this driving technique, 10Q? Tell us a flashback is basically like it sounds. We flashback to some point in your character's past to explain why you've able to do something in the present. So who's taught you offensive driving? The mechanic in your contacts tab? This is like 50s, 60s era of our real world analog. So yeah, I'm pretty sure everything back then was still stick shift. I don't know exactly when automatic transmissions came out, but most things are probably stick shift. Um, actually, I am wrong. Automatic transmissions did become popular uh, around the 50s and 60s. So some of them, the if you want yours to be automatic, you can. Otherwise, it can be a stick shift. I don't know cars. Well, that's the answer. Whichever one's better for drifting, and someone in the future will tell us. Stick, thanks, cat. So it's a stick shift then. So yeah, Honest Stiv, the autopod mechanic, is like, now look, I this is real important. A lot of people in this city, they, because did you ever bring your car to him? Yeah, no, yes. Okay, so yeah, he's like, now this is a real fine piece of work here. Now, when you get a car like this that's flashy, people are going to challenge you to races all the time. So it's really important you know how to drift. Because the last thing you want is trying to take a turn going at 60 miles per hour and crashing into the side of a building. You will fly out of this thing. The seatbelts are not that great. And so basically, long, lengthy detail of how to be a really good driver. And then now we come back to the present and we roll using sway instead of finesse. And then you'll take 2 stress. So you click on the word sway. Not that one. There we go. Yep, risky standard. Yep. A 6. Yeah, so tell us, what cool maneuver do you do to pin this guy's car for the moment, which will give you be halfway to the guy bleeding out in the back seat. He is in the wrong lane, yeah. Okay. And then you guys crash together, luckily in such a way that does not, send you flying out of the vehicle, but does pin you and his car on the little, the median? Yeah. I think now though, so that's pinned for the moment. You are you do take and see that now the driver and passenger side windows both roll down a little bit, and you do have two what appear to be like handguns that are now aimed at you. And a voice yells out that you've got about 3 seconds to put the car in reverse and get out of their way before they fire. Hero, Pancake. Both of you guys see from obvious. Everybody can clearly see. Hey, our friend Daphne's in trouble. Let's Yeah, so you were hiding in an alley in our version of a grassy knoll. Um, so you're across the street and like a couple car lengths back. They did not get very far before Daphne crashed into them. You do have the ability to teleport. Keep that in mind. Let's see. It says you have to be able to move there physically. Do I count? I guess the windows are open. So the only barriers that I would consider that make sense that would stop you from moving there physically now aren't there. So that is an option. The two people in the front are focused on PinQ, yeah, are focused on Daphne. Flower Child. Yeah, so let's see. We're paying two stress, and then I think you need to kill him in whatever method of your choice, and then hopefully get out before getting shot in return. So what's our method of attack here? How are we trying to finish this guy off? Well, you also have you have a blade or two, and then you also have Hero's fine snub nosed hand cannon because you guys swapped. So those you do have that as an option as well. In the real world, yeah, but this is like cool, fun fantasy world where that's only a potential consequence if you roll poorly. And even then, there's probably more interesting things than oh no, my ears. Uh, That is the cool spy thing. That would be pretty cool. Which of your actual ratings would you use for that? Also, TinQ, if you want to mechanically provide assistance, you can take one stress, um, and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna shout at the guys," or like make a scene. Basically, in the narrative right now, you're assisting because they're focused on you. But if you want that to be represented mechanically, you can spend one stress to assist Minerva. Finesse an item from someone's pocket, employ subtle direction or sleight of hand. Prowl, ambush with close violence. Yeah, Prowl think would be the risky standard option here. I don't think there's much difference between Prowl and Finesse, but yeah. And then this is going to be risky great, because I think if this goes well, I mean, it goes really well. All right, yeah. So tell us how you kill him. Now, you do have to pay your stress again to disappear, because you sadly, even though I use the GIF, are not Nightcrawler. Um, and then I guess, yeah, I don't think there's any. I guess maybe finesse to do it fast enough alongside stabbing him. I guess, yeah, I could see a world where we need to still roll an action. Finesse would be the risky standard option there. I don't know if that's what you want. I don't know if you really want the two guys in the front seat to be aware that the person in the back seat was just stabbed. I think you want Emma to get out first. I mean, you could draw attention to it while Emma's still in there if you wanted, I guess. Oh, so this is afterwards. Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I got you. Uh, yeah. So I think this one's pretty simple. You do it, but there's a consequence. You suffer harm, a complication occurs, reduced effect, desperate position. So, whoop, you take and put it in there, and you are teleported out before the guys in front are aware of anything that happened. That's cool as hell. Um, all those erratic drivers, though, make it really hard to teleport out safely. You you aim for the sidewalk, and for just whatever reason, come up a little bit short, right in front of a speeding vehicle. So you're in a desperate position to dodge, get out of the way. What are you doing? While you think about that, hey hero. Um, so second shot. After the second shot goes off, the building that you're in, you discover is not as abandoned as you thought it was, and there is in fact some type of vagrant, who, in all of the kermuffle, has gotten close-ish to you, and he looks like he's just got some little dinky 9mm. Still would hurt, but it's not as cool as the handgun that you. Oh wait, right. All we have is this loud, or this not loud, this very clunky, unwieldy close range sniper rifle, which is good for shooting far away, but not exactly as good for dealing with people at close range. The guy is very shakily pointing his gun at you, though, as he's asking you for money or something. He looks very strung out. It's like, hey, that's a nice suit you got there. You give me that nice suit, nice guy, nice wallet, full of stacks. You want to hand them over, huh? Let's see. So for your actual, what you have on you, let's take away all of this other stuff that has weight. So you have 2 points from the sniper rifle, so you have 1 point free in your loadout. In the building. Yeah. No. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. All right, so which of your action ratings are you going to use to do that? It does sway does feel like the risky standard option there, yeah. So you're pushing yourself. So remember, you do get the benefits of pushing along with your thing. So you also get +1 die or increased effect. So you could pick something that is maybe limited effect and then make it standard. I mean, you're offering him a drink. I could see a world that that's a risky limited consort as well. Like, hey, you want to schmuggle me? Have a drink instead. Yeah, I could see a world where offering the strung out guy a drink in a tense situation could be a consort as a limited effect. And so then with pushing yourself, you could make it risky standard, or you could give yourself an extra die. Hmm. Okay. It's partial success as a consequence, suffer harm, desperate position. Well, no, you succeed. I mean, you will give him Pop Pop's juice. That does diffuse the situation in some capacity, and because it's standard and not limited anymore. Hmm. Okay. So, so you take and tell me what you say to him in when you attempt to hand him Pop Pop's juice as he's got you at gunpoint. Well, Columbo just sitting there in the shadows with a single lit cigarette. Yeah, and he's like, "Oh shoot, I just cut out the middleman. That's what I was going to use your money for anyway." Hey guys, this guy's got some stuff on him, and like four other vagrants come out of the shadows from nowhere, and so now you've got this fun little vagrant posse that you'll have to charm your way out of there in order to actually escape, because they're surely not going to let you go in without a proper hangout of some sort now that you've broken bread with them, being the vagrants that they are. So while you figure out how you're going to wind your way out of that situation, let's go back to our street crew. Um, so, not that one. What are we doing about that car that's about to crash into you? Emma, whenever you're there. What you doing about that car that's about to crash into you? That would probably be prowl, because that's the athleticism skill as well. Yeah, run, jump, swim, tackle, stuff like that. Tumble. So yeah, risky standard or desperate standard, yeah, because you're in a desperate position. All right, yeah. So I mean, you do manage to dive out of the way of the car, um, for the most part. Oh, cool. So you know exactly how painful it is to still get clipped by one. as you do manage to mostly dodge out of the way, to where it's not like, oh, cool, I'm now a splatter on the pavement. But it does still hurt like a bitch for a tier 3 harm, unless you'd like to resist that. Alrighty. So that is going to be prowess, unless you have something special that you're trying to do. And then you'll take stress equal to whatever the result you roll is. Or 6 minus the result you roll. Hot damn, 0. Yeah, this is not the first time someone has tried to hit you with their car, it seems. As you manage to dot, it'll maybe land in such a way or where you take most of the force of the impact with you. And we'll reduce that to a tier 2 harm of heavily bruised. All right. So yeah, guy's dead. Hey there, Daphne. Just so you're gonna try to draw attention to the dead man in the back seat and hope that you can get away. All right. How you doing that? So you just screaming. Oh God, they're dead, something like that. Okay. All right. Let's see. What is that? Which of your action ratings are you using to do that? You think? So sway's probably the risky standard. If you look in the player kit, sway is charm someone with or sway someone with charm, logic, deception, disguise, bluff, change attitudes or behaviors with manipulation or seduction. Basically, just like a hey, look over there is what you're doing here in effect. So that seems like risky standard would be sway. Yep, click on sway, and this is risky standard with no modifier unless you'd like to push yourself. Hmm. Okay. Complication occurs, reduced effect, desperate position. Hey, you were in oncoming traffic when you did this. And it's not been it's been a really you've had a good number of drivers that have swerved out of the way. Um, someone's not you find someone that's not paying attention though. Look like it's some middle-aged woman who's currently doing her makeup on her drive to work, maybe, who is not paying attention to what's in front of her at all. And she's about to rear end you something fierce. And it's probably going to hurt a lot if she does. Desperate position for whatever you want to do next while you ponder that. Ezra, there's really nothing tying you here other than the fact that you see somebody about to rear end your friend, and you've also now your other friend just get hit by a car, and they look like, I mean, they could be better, but they're not dead. So that would max out your stress. So you would acquire a deadlock to do that. But it would be I think that I the fact of how cool that is and the fact that the cost you're paying is a deadlock, I probably wouldn't make you roll for it. You could probably just do a cool ass Magneto thing and just hold all the cars back and give 10Q the ability to drive away. While the two guys in the car are like they look behind them, see that their charge is like bleeding from the neck, and are now both like jumped into the back seat trying to do so. Or the guy in the passenger seat has done some kind of medical attention, and the driver now does not care about anything and is just trying to drive out of here again. I mean, you can deadlock 4 times. All right. So yeah, tell us this cool ass thing that you do with using your psychokinesis on all these cars. Hell yeah. So that's you, Emma, and Tenku, who are all managed to just get out of the job, and that leaves us with our final problem to solve. Some vagrants who become have pack bonded with you at the offer of a weird alcohol or whatever it is that Pop Pop special juice is. It's good shit. It's such good shit the vagrants have pack bonded really hard, and it's gonna be a real interesting situation to skedaddle out of here before the cops arrive on the scene and start investigating. As I'm sure some eyewitness at this point has reported seeing sniper glints or other things. S- Nope, not that. Nope. Which one do I want for hanging out with these guys? This one? Yeah, this is good. So you'll pick which one of your three personality traits that you want to deadlock, and then you'll click on it, and then I will change the name, basically. So you will deadlock flamboyant, eccentric, or spiritual. If you want to look over page 67 in the book, has some recommendations for the opposite of each of those things, as well as the more extreme version. So if you were to deadlock flamboyant, you could become demure instead, or become self-obsessed, as an example of what happens when you deadlock one of your keys. So just kind of look over those and see which one you think makes the most sense. Yeah. Yeah, so you can decide whether your personality trait becomes exaggerated and more negative, so going from flamboyant to self-obsessed, or you can pick to become the opposite, in which case, rather than being this flamboyant personality you are currently, you become a little bit more reserved, demure, very mindful, whatever that meme was. And each of the your all of your personality traits have, if you've picked them from the book anyway, have some suggestions for what they can turn into. Um, and then you'll also be able to pick up XP. So just ponder those while we finish off this last little bit with Pine here, as they have a nice, wonderful session of passing Pop Pop special juice around the vagrant circle. So yeah, what are you doing? just just sneak off into the shadows once everybody's gotten sufficiently wasted. Yeah, sure. That seems risky standard. Man. So you go to try to sneak away, and as you do, um, the vagrant boss shows up. He was out on a run of some sort, it seems. He comes back with a bag full of various little sweet treats as well as more alcohol. And all of the guys are like, "Hey, boss, look at this cool ass fella here. This shit is some good shit, boss." And then they welcome him in. They like they drag you back into the circle. There are now like little snack cakes as well as shot glasses of different kinds of liquors that the boss brought back with whatever they make money in, maybe the last person they mugged off of the street. And all they are now like starting to do like collective shots together, and they are trying to pressure you into getting absolutely wasted with them. You also do hear sirens down the street that are probably getting close. Your friends, if you do have a radio, so you can tell your friends what's happened here. As you've probably heard through the walkie-talkie, you've got it maybe somewhere that it's not blaring your plans to the vagrants around you. That the job is done and everybody has escaped after a really cool bit of mental prowess from Shimmer, who is changed forever from it, but it was cool as sick or cool as hell. And while you're there having a nice Sunday brunch with some homeless people. And the original guy that tried to mug you is like shakily holding a shot glass out for you to take. It's like, come on, man, don't be a square. Well, you ain't get. I mean, look, a fancy guy like you make your own schedule. You ain't nowhere important to be. You also get an XP point for that because you have 0 in it. You get you get 1 XP point to distribute on any of the little bookmarks. So where you've got like resolve, prowess, insight, and then the one on your abilities, you just get put that anywhere. All right, risky standard, 0 dice. Yeah, so sirens. So like, yeah, it's a 6 towers, man. There's always sirens, but it's not our problem. Nobody ever checks these abandoned places. There's always so other kind of cool shit going on. I mean, look, nothing's happened here that would be worth the police investigating. We just sitting around enjoying a drink. I mean, what they gonna? They show up, they tell us to scram. No problem. And you ain't a square, are you? Squares get mugged as he like squints at you, shoving the glass closer to your face. A different way. What different way? The 6 towers has been used to be a pretty upscale place that was then run down. Yeah. Yeah, there's like new constructions that are pretty close. There's not like another finished building near you, but there's like yeah, there's places up and coming. There's like a construction-y type of scaffolding that you could get to. Yeah. Yeah, I mean there's unfinished buildings, dilapidated buildings, and construction buildings. Like unfinished meaning it's been clearly abandoned, dilapidated ones that are centuries old, and then like brand new buildings that are in the process of being built. That is still Prowl. That is Desperate Great. Also, remember if you've not been doing it as we've been going, make sure that you Control F the word Desperate after this is done, so that way you can go back and give yourself XP points for all of your Desperate rolls, because Desperate rolls also give you XP. Yeah, that was for everybody. I don't remember what people have rolled, but I forgot to mention that. It's been a while since we played. But yeah, let's see what happens. Desperate Great to dive out of a window from an awkward social encounter. Man. Okay. Yeah, so it's the worst outcome, right? You suffer severe harm, and I think we're going to do 2 that you can resist independently if you so choose. Um, so you jump out of the building. And that's going to be a tier 3 harm as maybe your foot catches or one of the guys grabs you, um, and it just messes up your angle and you fall to the ground in a particularly um, uncushioned dumpster. It hurts a lot. And then the second one is that your character is going to fall unconscious and wake up to a blue coat staring at you. So this would be prowess. So you'd click on the word prowess and you'd be rolling a number of d6s equal to however many skills you have at least one dot in, taking stress equal to 6 minus the highest result rolled. So for you, you'll have be rolling 1d6 and you'll take stress equal to 6 minus whatever you roll to resist the harm, which I guess if we resist the harm, we still have the blue coat that we wake up in front of, but we're unharmed. We cushion our landing. 3 failures in a row is pretty tough. I mean, the scene's basically over, but what'll happen is that as you go into future scores, unless you heal, if you were to take a tier 3 harm, you would be instantly bumped up to dead. Oh. So this would be a flashback, is what that would be you're trying then, of some sort. Because resisting typically is like, hey, you roll resolve prowess insight. So instead, you want to try to be like, hey, this is the blue coat who is currently unnamed. You want it to be someone that's friendly to you. Okay. That's one of my favorite abilities in the game. That one you get to do for free. This one, doing it this way requires a flashback and rolling. So yeah, um, I think what makes sense here is I'll do a fortune roll and I'll just be using your consort rating because it's not like you consorting directly matters. It's hey, or no, I guess it could. I guess it could. How are you trying to? What are you doing? Is it that you're hoping that this is a friendly person, or is there something in your flashback that you have done to try to orchestrate some friendly bluecoats in the area? Okay. Yeah, so I guess that would be something that you would roll then. I mean, that doesn't mechanically it's two dice either way, but I think it makes sense for that to be in part of the flashback for you just getting to roll the dice rather than it being a fortune roll. So yeah, go ahead. Risky standard. That's going to be really, really depressing. Yeah. 4 failures in a row would be kind of unheard of. Okay, yeah, partial. All right. I think complication is nice and simple here. It is a blue coat that you know, but it is a blue coat that um, he he didn't do. He, long story short, thought that he knew the tax code better than you and made some changes, and that got his ass caught when he otherwise would have been fine if he just listened to you. But he does still blame you for it somehow. Um, so he's gonna basically he's wanting a stack to bribe him rather than just doing it as a favor. Yeah, so he's like, hey, he's like, look, hey, that advice you gave me, kind of bad. I got caught anyway, and it really really hurt my bottom line. So if your bottom line wants you want to keep it safe, it's gonna kind of need to smooth the wheels of justice. You know what I mean? Cool. He takes the stack from you and closes the dumpster lid on you, and then walks off to go can finish out the rest of his patrol. And you're fine to sit in there until you hear the sirens pull away, and you meet back up with your friends, very scathed, very harmed, but not in jail. All right, and that's our assassination. Yippee! You guys killed JFK. That's true. Not real JFK, but you know, same setup. Attempt anyway. And then we had to Nightcrawler to finish the job. Darn bulletproof windows. KFJ. It was. All right. Payout. You do get your 10 stacks because you did plant the calling card. Um, planted the evidence. So this is a 10 stack payout. Yippee. Divided however you please. Currently in the crew coffers, there's 1 stack, so there's room for 3 more. You also need to pay 1 tithe to the Golden Hand. Um, they send another one of those gold-plated hulls by to, you know, collect their due. And rep, you guys get 2 rep. It's a higher tier. You get a bunch of other rep that fades away because the rep tracker is maxed out. You do have a weak hold at tier 0 because you are at war. And then heat. 0 heat, smooth and quiet, low exposure. 2 heat, contained, standard exposure. 4 heat, loud and chaotic, high exposure. 6 heat, wild, devastating exposure. What do we think? Now, I would agree with you up until the end when you had someone do an incredible display of psychic powers to just make a force wall that's blocked all traffic. Yeah. Oh, also because I forget to do it, there was a lot of people that died, so this goes. You guys heard this a lot throughout that adventure. So I do think that up until that point, there could have maybe been an argument. So I think that at the very least, we're at 4. It was a really cool moment, and then followed up by so many failures in a row, and all to just escape drinking with some vagrants. You know, really, really different worlds. So heat, yeah, I think 4 base because wild, devastating exposure to me would have been the getting caught at the end, or like more bodies piling up, like killing more people in the car, or explosions, stuff like that. So I think 4 makes sense for the base anyway. +1 heat. Let's see. Oh, extra heat for a high profile or well connected target. This might be +1 heat if the target is mid tier or you only mildly piss them off. It might be +3 heat if they're very high tier and you really angered them. They are a tier 4 faction. So I think that's probably going to be the, well, I guess there is a tier above that. So 2 heat. So that's 6. It did not happen on hostile turf. You guys are at war, so that's 7 heat. Killing was involved, so that's 9 heat. No explosives, no high grade weapons, and +1 heat from the palace frame up portion because, or the Blackthorn Park frame up portion, because at the end of this, the palace is going to basically get rid of their file on the professionals in relation to the frame up job. That's into the shredder it goes. So now at the end of every score, you guys only get +1 heat from the frame job. Once you do something for Blackthorn Park, that will be considered tied up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Full wanted bar, like I thought it was going to be. Hey guys, you know what happens when you fill up the wanted level? Oh, well, TinQ. The cops are going to show up once we get done with everything else to come take somebody away. Um, Potentially. Unless you guys want to use some of the money that you just earned to pay them off or send somebody else off. But next we'll do harm complications. So, for every individual harm box filled, you are going to go to the left side of your screen and do a fortune roll with the number of dice equal the number of harm boxes you have filled. So that's, you see there's 5 total boxes, count up however many have words in them, and roll that many dice. If none of your boxes have words in them, congrats, you have no harm complications to worry about. It is on the middle of your sheet, the harm section. You are unscathed, so you don't have to worry about this part. All right. Ezra, what's your highest level of harm? No complication. Hero, what's your highest level of harm? And you get a 5. Your condition worsens. Take an additional level 1 harm, but that will tick off because of the crew quarters. So you get some aches and pains, but you'll be able to sleep them off. And Emma, what's your highest level? 3 as well? Oh, yes, right. Condition worsens, take a level 1 harm, but will also be slept off. So again, some aches and pains is from getting hit by a car, but just sleep those off. It's really just the direct impact that's hurty. Oh, right. Also, I forgot that 10Q's car Velma is flashy, so that would have been 10 heat. So you're wanted level 2 with 1 heat spilled over. Very memorable vehicle that is. What's your car look like, Flower Child? It's a 2-seat autopod, so it's something out of the '60s, but in terms of paint job and you know wheels, stuff like that, the world's your oyster. Incredible. That's very flashy. All right, so that's harm. Unwind. Who? 10Q and not Pancake. 10Q and Pine, I think, are the 2 ones here that have never done an unwind, obviously because 10Q's never been here before, and Pine's only been here once. So I will flip a coin. Twice. What was the second one? You did the train, and then what else? Oh, right. Was it the one? Were you doing the one with Karen, or was it the one with Todd? It was the one with Todd, right? Yeah, you guys were. That was for Silk. I don't think you did the unwind. I think that was Jules that did that. So I'm rolling a coin. 1 is 10Q, 2 is Pine. Congrats. That CEO bleeds out is not what that should be. I just have the token selected. But that's a 2. So on page 204, 194 of the number in the corner, pick how does the crew unwind. If you don't want to pick, you can also roll it. Also, all of you clear 1 stress and your level 1 harms, if you have any. Yeah, you'll typically be able to tap the box behind it, I think. So, like, if you want to clear your 3rd harm, you tap the 2nd one. Correct. You go back to 0. fishing. Okay. I don't have any fishing music queued up, I don't think. Let me see. No, I know I have music that is fishing. I let me let's see. Mood, thoughtful, butterflies, lilies. What's yeah. Misty Hills. What's that sound like? I forget that one. Yeah, that feels appropriate after what just happened for a nice fishing excursion. Okay. So, you guys go fishing. You take and get um what's a mid-sized boat? A swoop, sloop, something to that effect because you're not all going to fit in a dinghy. But you guys are not fancy enough to get, or you guys don't have the funds to just blow it on a huge ass yacht or anything. Pontoon, right? Oh, a dock? That makes more sense. Okay, yeah. So you're on a dock. You could be at the docks itself, or you could be just anywhere along the coastline. What are you thinking? There's a lot of coastline to pick from. That's true. All right. So yeah, you guys are on the coast somewhere, doing some fishing together. How we feeling? It did happen, yeah. He's so talented. Fly fishing? Yeah, those poor fish. Lead poisoning. What's Daphne doing here on this fishing adventure? Has Daphne ever fished before? Luckily, your car is its edge is that it's simple, so it gets fixed for free during downtime. So maybe your dad's maybe you have a wealthy parent that's paying your insurance for you, even though you're a college dropout, and they're like, yeah, I'll pay for like the basics, but I mean, if you still want to like eat and have extravagances, you got to work, and by work, obviously you've chosen crime. Um, he's not paying your debts either. It's like, yeah, I'll pay for your cell phone, your insurance, but that like $50,000 of debt you have, yeah, that's all you can. Pay premiums. Yeah, yeah, of course. Just don't do it. And that's maybe when Hero would chime in and be like, "Hey, I mean, I know how to get you a pretty good deal on some definitely legal insurance. There's some not at all loopholes." That's true. Daphne did bring the White Claws to the fishing excursion. White Claws. And you guys have a nice time unwinding, having. There's no laws when you're drinking claws. There are, however, laws after the claws drinking is done as you guys go back to the doghouse Um, and this time, Sergeant Gant is just there waiting for you guys. Like, he's not even in like his uniform. He is just sitting there in his like just casual wear. He's got like a Hawaiian shirt and some shorts and like a big sunglasses. He's like, guys, I was getting ready to go take a vacation to Cuba, and I get the call that you fucking assholes have been involved in some absurd mess over in Six Towers. I I desperately need you guys to chill out. I have been in this damn bar almost more than it feels like my own home at this point. I just took somebody away like a week or two ago. This is absurd. You guys own like stocks and Iron Hook or something? Is this all some kind of scam? You just send people over to the clink? Okay. All right. So let's see. How much is it to pay him off? Let's see. It is 6 stacks to pay him off. Yeah, 10 total. So you can spend 6 of those to just pay him off. Yeah. And this is it's an investment in the future, right? Now you get 1 fewer heat on every score. That 2 heat has been adding up very quickly. Yeah. So you guys taking Forkovers a bunch of money. He's like, "Ah, cool. It's really convenient that I had this nest egg stashed away from my vacation. That way I can afford all of the expensive cigars over there that I'll bring back for me and the rest of the force. You guys are maybe I was wrong about you. Maybe you guys should continue doing fucking whatever it is that you do if you're pulling in this kind of cash to just, make this not a problem anymore. Cool. I'll see. Hopefully, now, like I said, gonna be on vacation. So if you guys do some bullshit again, it's not gonna be me. And so somebody who's probably a little bit less, you know, on board with the idea of not sending one of you away for a while. So clean up your act. Good. Hero, I've got an appointment with you, and then I've got an appointment with you when I come back for, you know, gift taxes and other shit like that for all the cigars I'm buying. Don't forget. Awesome. I love you. Make sure. Look, if I come down here to arrest somebody, you guys make sure it's not Hero, right? All the rest of you can go. If I have to take Hero downtown because of the hijinks you guys are up to, it's gonna be hell to pay for everybody. We cannot lose our accountant. Oh, of course. I would never forget Columbo, and he pats him on the way out. All right. Now downtime. So you guys are at war still. Beretta is out for blood, plotting her next move after you guys saved Worley. Um, so nothing this time, but it does still make it hard to go out and about when the threat of attack is on all sides. So you have 1 downtime for free, and then you can pay a rep or a stack to get extras. So what are we doing for downtime? Hey there, operative. You want to call in a favor with your backing faction to get a good doctor instead of the shit ones that keep being found off the street? Alrighty. So, put in your notes that you use some help. The asset, the Streli are a tier 4, so a tier 4 doctor. Um, very Eso- esoteric fella, um, which is shocking considering the Strelai are all like, oh, we hate the supernatural, but I mean, to know your enemy. So some esoteric healer kind of lady comes in, who's got all kinds of ointments and ailments and all these other fun things to cure you guys with. So that's for free. So you don't have to. That's not your downtime to do that. You can just call that in. So you guys have a tier 4 doctor to use. So you'll do on the left side. You'll just do a fortune roll with 4 dice for anyone who wants to heal. Hot damn. All right. So during the personal business phase, TinQ, the things that you can do if you downloaded the book, I'll start on page 174. But a brief overview is basically de stress, work on a long term project, which can be literally anything, heal, reduce the heat for the crew, acquire some kind of asset, or do a training montage for XP. And for you guys who healed, 3 segments for a 6, 5 segments for a crit, and 2 segments for the 5. So you reduce all of your harms by 1 level and clear any level 1 harms that you have. And this includes the ones that were level 2 that now became level 1, if any things do that. And then you clear your level 1s. Which I'm to make sure I'm not misunderstanding this. Woohoo. Well, sounds like you might have to spend some rep or a stack to get another one. Yeah, so that's free downtimes used for everybody but TinQ. TinQ, you're doing a training montage, which is, I believe, the crew has upgrades for all of them. Or is it just the one? Or is it none? You got a crit, so you do 5. It overflows as well. So if you fill it all the way up and then you have any left over, you would continue that for the next one. Do you guys not have any upgrades to training montages? I guess not. So you get 1 XP to put wherever you please. Yeah, basically everything falls down a level. So if you have any level 1s, they go away. If you have any level 2s, they become 1s. If you have any 3s, they become 2s. It does not. I've read the section again, and it's you'll always clear level 1s regardless of what you roll. Oh wait, no. Hold on. Long-term project. You fill your healing clock, reduce each instant of harm by 1 level, then clear the clock. Taking the action at all clears all level 1 harm. I guess it's ambiguous. I'll say that everything gets reduced and then you clear your level 1s as well, because I want you guys to heal more so I can beat you up more. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to say that's because the way this is worded, I suppose you could argue because it's you segments and clear a level 1 harm, and the process of going through healing, like you do that first. So it's ambiguous because it doesn't make it explicit what order you do them, and it says you clear all level 1 harms regardless. So like if you had level 1s at the start of healing, those would go away, but you could also make the argument that once they get your 2s get dropped down to 1s, that they would also go away. if you wanted. And I think that's the argument I'm going to make, because again, I want the ability to beat you guys up more. Yeah, so Tenku, you get 1 experience point to put wherever you please. You put that either on the bookmark icons to the right of Resolve, Prowess, Insight, or you could also fill up the abilities. Whenever you fill up any of those, you get a new ability or a new skill dot. And then is anyone going to pay a stack or a rep to take extra downtimes? Do you get X? I don't think you get XP for failures. I think you just get. It's for something that's desperate, or when you have a roll that you have 0 dice in. And then there's also overall XP, which we will do as well in just a second. Oh, what was your question, Tenku? You see how Resolve just came red? If you click on one of those, it turns red, and if you right click, it goes away. So just wherever you want to put the XP point. And then, yeah, is anyone going to spend any resources to do extra downtimes? All of you made 1 stack from this job. Ooh, what you doing? Yeah. Befriend more bluecoats. Yeah. And Yellow Jackets is a TV show. And also a creature. Yeah, this will be a 6 segment. I think it's... You've got an in, so I don't think it's 8. But they are blue coats. They're still kind of abrasive. All right, so how you doing that? What's your first approach? Okay. Yeah, so consort, risky standard, none of that matters. We're just looking for the numerical result. So this is... You're not the only criminal accountant in town, Hero. Your buddy, Vanden. So you're like, you finish up an appointment, or you meet with him for drinks or whatever, and you're putting around this idea of like expanding your network, and he's like, "Oh, well, see, there's this guy, not a guy. There's this lady, who started doing what you do for the people you weren't already doing it for. Um, her name's Celine Goodwoman. You heard of her?" Yeah, from what I understand, she does a great job. I'm not that I'm looking to replace you. I mean, you've been doing my stuff for years, but I mean, you know how it is when it comes to doing your legal taxes. It's kind of a hard subject to go to somebody else, because now they got all these years of legal taxes that they could decide to suddenly hold over you. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah, you get it. So I mean, you could try. I'd maybe see if there's any clients that she doesn't want. Perhaps maybe you guys could, you know, do the accountant thing. I don't know how the process works. But long and the short of it is, you can you're gonna I guess have to poach some folks or see if she's willing to hand any over. Yeah. Hello, Celine Goodwoman. Maybe a future rival. All right. Anyone else want to do downtimes? Yeah. Alrighty. Makes sense. Now, alrighty. So yeah, what are you doing to try to finally befriend Pritchard for real? Yeah. I did some research. I'm impressive. So luckily, you still get one segment regardless for a long-term project. Which let me configure ownership. You should you should see a clock in your folder with your character sheet. Um, but yeah, so you do some research. What do you think his job is? So this is where the failure comes in. You still get the one segment regardless, so you will friend him, and he's like, um, no, I'm what? I do accounting. What do you think accounting is? Okay, no, 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 not at all. I balance checkbooks and make sure that expenses match outputs and that everything's on the up and up. None of what you were saying, which sounds like a legally covering for. Do you? I you would live you live a much different life than I do. But that makes these meetings so interesting, right? Is that we getting to see a whole different world that I live in. I also have heard recently through my work that you guys are you and your friends are like all clear now, which is cool. So now we can actually meet up properly without scrutiny. So I'm glad that you guys solved the problem that you had created. Um, and congrats, you're not kind. Pritchard is now a green arrow on your contact sheet, and he is basically a palace handler, is what he is. All right. Anyone else want to do any extra downtimes before we do XP? Wherever you want. It can be any of the XP tracks. I've decided to swap that so you can put them wherever you please. It isn't explicitly tied to the skill you used. All right. So, not that. Yeah, we'll do that one. So, XP. Everyone did their little desperate rolls or zero rolls, taking care of you, P. Pine, do you feel that you were brooding, determined, or cool? Yeah, so pick whichever one you feel more was the more worthwhile one, and then mark in your notes that you have marked that key and give yourself an XP point. Because I would definitely agree determined um, for jumping out of the window instead of just being like goodbye guys, um, and cool to befriend the guy instead of just like stabbing him or whatever other million ways that could have gone was pretty cool. Um, and then your class specific XP trigger. Did you address a challenge with talking or determination? You don't get a fight. Yeah, I agree. So you get an experience point for that as well. And who is next on my list? I think it is Pancake. Uh, Pancake. Which have you figured out which thing you're going to deadlock? Alrighty. So let's see, you are. It will not let me edit that item. So let me grab this. We are flamboyant, erratic, and spiritual. And then of those two things, flamboyant or spiritual, because you are no longer eccentric, do you think you are either of those things? Makes sense. Yeah, very valid. And then click on the word erratic and you'll deadlock it. And then, do you feel like you addressed a challenge with knowledge or paranormal power? Oh, did you? You sure did. Magnetoing all those cars was cool as hell. And Minerva, do you feel that Emma this session was calculating, meticulous, or professional? Nice and simple. And for your specific trigger, do you feel like you addressed a challenge with stealth or subterfuge? I would agree. And finally, Tinjamin. Um, do you feel like you were sharp, confident, or talkative? You did not do a lot of talking. You did some screaming, but I don't know if I'd put that in the same box. And did you address a challenge with charm or quick thinking? Yeah, driving your car into the vehicle. That does feel like that was quick thinking. So you get an XP point for that. And then lastly, for you specifically, do you like playing Daphne or would you prefer to make your own character? Well, what I was going to say is that now that we have all your XP from the first session figured out, we would just take those points and then move them to a new character if you did want to change. But if you do want to stick as Daphne, I will put her in the 10Q folder. Alrighty. 10Q. Create folder. Stick Daphne in there. That's good. That's quality. Tingerman Benison. All right. So that's our session. Stars and wishes. Did I update the one here? I did. Stars. At the end of the session, everyone gives some highlights, most things they enjoyed. They can be really flexible. It often include a mixture of appreciation for the GM's prep work, key moments of roleplay from the other players, or ways the plot twisted, or memorable scenes and situations. What we got? Magneto. Yeah, I agree. That was very cool. Nightcrawlering was also pretty sick. That was a good way to deal with that whole situation. Yeah, crashing the car. Hero managing to land that shot, and if it wasn't for the fact that the car had bulletproof windows, I mean that would have been a nice, clean, easy job. Yeah. The JFK assassination. Yeah. Right. And then wishes. Lost my channel. Requests for more. These are to give some wishes. Could be the things they weren't too keen on, things they'd like to see more of. Requests for more of some things. Requests for less of things, which is usually aimed towards in character or in universe concerns. Like I want to see less interparty conflict play out at the table. Above table stuff, like interpersonal issues. I wish that my character wasn't made fun of as often. You can bring those up to me or the players involved now if you're comfortable doing that, or if there's something that came up where you felt like real world bad feelings, you can talk about it later if you're not comfortable doing it in a group session. Um, Rules that didn't quite flow or sit right, or structural requests like I want to kill more JFKs, I want less traffic problems, I want um, more vagrant friendships, stuff like that. We got any wishes? That's true. That was very unfortunate. I have it's one, two, three, four. Yeah. And all of them were specifically for a social situation, trying to escape an awkward social encounter. You have no sway. Yeah, that's funny. I'm sure Columbo. I'm sure that Columbo could just walk out. I mean, he's a dog. He probably Columbo probably yeah Columbo probably accepted the shot request that was for Hero and then just walked out down the stairs. Yeah. Columbo takes the shot that was meant for you and then makes it all the way down the stairs without spilling a drop, and then just gives it to you in the dumpster. Yeah, that's hilarious. Like a Saint Bernard. Thank you, Columbo. I think, yeah, big floppy ears. Yeah, I think my only wish for myself is I want to be just a little bit faster in getting the actual heist started, because we've had like an hour. We realistically only, I think we actually get the heist started around 8, which gives you, it's like an hour and a half for heist time. But yeah, there is a fair degree of waffling, but that's also where I need to rein people in a little faster, because it's, I'm doing the Star Wars game now where we have a whole session for downtime and a whole session for heist. Um, is now I gotta balance that with doing Far Out Friday, where I condense everything back into one session. So I have to make sure that I'm managing my pacing well for both of those. JFK assassination. Hey, last time you got the man that I said was old, and you immediately thought that was like a hot old and not like a crotchety old man. I mean, you regged out. He left the hospital. Who knows? Yeah, I think we're all good, unless anybody else has anything. Yeah, you did a good job. You crashed your car. You yelled. You did what was needed to do. Yeah, that is what the first session of Far Out Friday was not Bullet Train. And if you want to watch that session, it's on the YouTube. That's the first, I think it is anyway. I think that's not one of the ones I fucked up. This one I didn't fuck up. I made sure to check all my settings beforehand. So we have the recording. Yippee! And this is where the recording, said recording will end.